Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The basic principle of life is what we see and what is our standpoint in life. This is the basic principle. There are different standpoints with which we can go through the various experiences of life. First standpoint is a relative standpoint, where I versus you is a predominant factor. See? There was one girl, she got married. Many times unfortunate things happen. She got married. And thereafter she wrote me an email. She said, Swamiji, she wrote in Hindi. She said, Swamiji, before marriage, after marriage, what a difference it has come. And she wrote a poem. Before marriage, only my. After marriage, for a few months, tu. After 6 months or 1 year, my, tu. And after one more year, it is tu, my. And then after third year onwards, I being a Gujarati, and Gujarati, my means who tu, kabaddi, whole life is only a fighting. See friends, marriage is nothing but only adjustments. Unless we have that clear understanding, we get married only to learn how to adjust, nothing else. And those who are not able to adjust, they argue. And their whole life goes only in arguments, logic, reason. Friends, life is not a matter of logic. Life is a matter of love. But when our standpoint is I versus you, the relative standpoint, there will be nothing but problems in life. So when we get disgusted of this relative standpoint, constantly fighting I, you, then there are some people who take refuge in the liquid spirituality. They are far better than those who are leading a Hippocratic life. Then they will be going for satsang to the temple and all that. What for? Only to tell God, oh God, change him or her. That's it. It's not that they want to change. So first standpoint is I versus you. There is no solution to any problem in I versus you. Then the second standpoint is that I versus my beloved God. See? Now, I versus you, it is competition, jealousy, finding faults, expecting lot many things. But when it comes to I versus my beloved God, there is no competition, there is no jealousy, there is no nothing. Only there is surrender. See the change. The moment you change the standpoint of life. See, how to change the standpoint of life? Try this, is a very simple technique, friends. Always be a follower. Never be a leader in life. If you want to be happy. See? I ask our Arvind Bhai, say, what is the secret that you are married for so many years? How come you are not fighting? What is the secret? He told me this wisdom. He says, Swamiji, We have got clear understanding. She goes her way. I go her way. No problem. See, friends, never be a leader, be a follower. When you are a follower, you don't have to think. All the problems are born because you think. Don't think. Do this thing, do this and relax. Why this should be done, why should not be done, why worry? Forget about it. So the second standpoint is I versus my beloved God. So a devotee never fights with God. He surrenders to the God. Now the third standpoint. How the God is looking at the world. See? Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshosti na priya. For me, everyone is the same. For me, there is none who is dear or not dear to me. Everybody is same. See? And the last, the ultimate standpoint is how the Supreme Reality is looking at the three principles. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. Jiva, you and me, the souls. Jagat, the world. And Ishvara, the creator of this world. These four standpoints is the path of journey unto the Jivan Mukta, where Bhagwan Ram was existing 24/7. See. Now see his life. When he was with his brothers, he has never had competition to win over. He was always accepting the brothers as they are. There is nobody superior, inferior. He was giving them respect. He was treating them equal. See, friends. First, Leela, because he had gone beyond the relativity. Now the second, I versus my God, devotion. He was always respecting elders. Doesn't matter who they are. Friends, those who do not have elders in their life, they are most unfortunate. There has to be one altar in the whole universe, somewhere. Call it God, call it a temple, call it a Mahatma, call it anybody. Some kind of altar, wherein be attentive, wherein we do not ask questions. Just surrender. See, there was a Mahatma and he had a disciple. And that Mahatma was, with everybody he was talking very nicely. But when this particular disciple comes, he was scolding him left and right. Always. Insulting him, condemning him. One day that Mahatma became so that student became so disgusted, he went straight away. Sir, today I have come to sort out. If you don't want me, I'll get out. But why do you hurt me every moment? The Mahatma said, my dear, you love me, you respect me, therefore you have come to me? Yes. Now, to whom you love and respect, if you cannot tolerate insult and disrespect from such a person, will you be able to tolerate from the unknown world? See, friends, very important thing in life. One has to learn. See? Therefore, we have to have one altar in life, before whom there are no arguments, no question. What is said, done. Whether right or wrong. Because cause and effect exist only in logic and reason. And cause and effect is an illusion. It is not real. See, friends, take this point very straight and simple. how Bhagwan Rama was able to appreciate and live his life as a Jivan Mukta. He never asked a question to his father, why yesterday you asked me to become the prince, today you are sending me, why? No question. You said, I did it, that's it. See? And therefore, first of all, his relationship with brothers, relativity. No problem. Then his relationship with the elders, father and everybody. No problem, no arguments, no logic, no reason. See? The Jivan Mukti doesn't mean that you get two horns and a tail and you become Onida. No. It must reflect in our day-to-day activities of life. See, friends. So, when he was offered the position that he was being coronated, anybody would have been very happy. Oh, and next moment he was just, no, not at all. That he was equanimous. A Jivan Mukta Purush, be attentive, never functions as the body, but functions through the body. A Jivan Mukta Purush always functions through the mind, never functions as the mind. See, my friends. And what we normal people do, rather abnormal people do, is we are living as the body, for the body, on everybody. See, our whole life is lived only for the body. Similarly, all the time we are concerned about our emotions. But why people don't understand me? See, many people come and ask this stupid question. Swamiji, why people don't understand me? I said, I am not a people. Go and ask them. See? If you are thinking you are wise, wise people should have more understanding than the other wise people. See, friends. Therefore, Bhagwan Ram never condemned, never complained that people don't understand me. No, he was understanding everybody. Because he was functioning beyond the cause and effect. And what is beyond cause and effect? Be attentive. One day, this story I told in the retreat probably, I don't know. I keep on bluffing, I don't remember where I have bluffed what. So, once there was a meeting. God, the creator, Brahmaji, he called a meeting. All the Mahatmas were invited, I was also one of them. And we were all sitting, having, gossiping how people are bad, how we are good, etc., etc. This is such a topic you don't require to prepare anything. Anytime you can start. And at very moment, Bhagwan came, so we all got up, being Indian, got up, saluted him, and everybody sat down. Then Bhagwan said, I am having a project in my mind that every soul that is born on earth should evolve and make the best of their life. So we clapped. Bhagwan said, stop that. It's not the appreciation I want from you. For the evolution of every single soul, what is the ideal situation? What is the ideal place? What is the ideal time that I will provide for every soul? So we were going to clap, then again we held hands. No more clapping. Then Bhagwan said, what are you going to do? You are Mahatmas, what are you going to do? So we looked at each other and we told, we will have a meeting. We will make a committee. You know committee? Committee means a group of people, individually they are not committed to anything, And together they decide that nothing can be committed for. And the only conclusion of every meeting, of every committee, is when is the next meeting. That's it. So, that assembly was dissolved, and next day we all Mahatmas went. And what is to be told? So, we were asked, you tell. So, we started telling. Sir, you may provide perfect situation for every soul to evolve. It is something like giving a perfect hardware. Only hardware doesn't function. Then we will provide the software. How to lead our life in a given situation. And that is called as satsanga. Bhagwan Ram had satsanga when he was younger than 15 years of age. And therefore, out of that Rama, a great Jivan Mukta was manifested. Friends, more than what we have, what is important is, with whatever we have, how do we deal with? See, this happened in USA. One child shot his father dead. The reason being, he was playing with a pistol. It was a live one. Now the child, he had the power to use the pistol. Simply switch on, that's it. But does he have a wisdom? Friends, we all have abilities. But do we have the wisdom to use the abilities? This wisdom is provided in the satsanga, and that is exactly what happened to Bhagwan Ramachandra in that young age of 15, when Vasishtha ji gave him the ultimate knowledge of life. And who was he to whom the knowledge was given? He had moved in the country, been to so many places, seen so many things, met so many Mahatmas, and learned from them. And also from his experiences of life. See, if you read that first portion, now in 2 days to talk about Yoga Vasishtha is a great fun. See, 32,000 verses. So, he very clearly analyzes that we are all only living for the body, on the body, everybody. And everybody has the same story, nothing new. See, when I go to people's place, I remember initially when I was new in my profession, now I am a perfect professional. So when I was new in my profession, then you go to people's place and then they will tell about their children. The same thing. Swamiji, my child is so intelligent. He asks so many questions. Are Baba, when somebody asks a question, he's dumb, he's not intelligent. The one who answers, he is intelligent. But then I had to take food from them, so I had to listen. And then they want to demonstrate the greatness of their stupid child. Now when you give food to somebody, don't torture him so much. But you have to go through. See? And then, beta, now see, show Swamiji, chant something Sanskrit. This is another funny thing, chant Sanskrit, as if it is something great. And then the child is to say, Tameva Matacha, say beta, and the beta is the one who doesn't listen. Beta, say beta, Tameva Matacha, Tameva Pitacha. She says the whole shloka. And then see Swamiji, how nicely said, by whom? Now tell me, is it for the first time somebody is married in this world? Is it for the first time children are born? Is it for the first time you have fought with you? This is generally happening throughout the world all the time. See, friends, once your vision expands, you will break the barrier of the individuality and merge in this world as a phenomenon. See, this happens only through wisdom, when we learn from our experiences. See, if we refuse to learn, nobody can teach us. See, in the relationship of Guru and Shishya, my principles are totally different than the usual one. In the relationship of Guru and Shishya, it is the disciple who is more important than the Guru. See, if the disciple refuses to learn, Guru can do nothing. The learner is important than the teacher. See, friends, we may glorify Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum. We must do also. If Bhagavan Krishna was Jagat Guru, why he could not teach to Duryodhan, Dushasan, Dhritarashtra? Because they refused to learn. See, friends, therefore Guru is our ability to learn from every experience of our life. And that Guru Tattva was fully manifest in Bhagwan Rama when he was moving in the various holy places. Everywhere he went, he learnt. Friends, if we learn from our every experience, with every experience we will grow wise. If we don't learn, we will grow old and otherwise. And these old and otherwise people, in the old age, they have nothing except complaints. They complain about everything in this world. They are nothing else. Because they have never learned in life. I'll tell you what is the process of learning. There was, I was staying with somebody in India, and husband, wife, they had one son, 3 of them. And the son was about 8 years or 7 years. He used to come in the morning for the Kenopanishad lecture I used to give. He will come and sit in the front and attentively listen. Hardly 7-8 years child, without movement. So one day when we went, we were having breakfast, a Punjabi family, nice paratha and all that. So that very moment, my friend got a call, he has to go somewhere. He says, Swamiji, excuse me, I have urgent call, I have to go. I said, go, I don't need you, I got paratha, go. So he went. The moment he went, the wife got an opportunity. What wife will talk? Complain about husband. There is no other topic in the world. So she said, Swamiji, my husband, he's very nice, he doesn't have any bad habits, he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't go to the parties and kitty things, and he's a very nice person. The moment the wife is praising the husband, there is some danger coming. So I was thinking, I don't know what is coming. But Swamiji, when he becomes angry, oh God, he is worse than a devil. And I'm fed up of his anger. So when you give somebody to eat, don't torture him. See? So I was eating nicely. So that boy said, Swamiji, may I answer Mummy's question? I said, wow, Chelaji, go ahead. And he answered very beautifully. He said, Mummy, we have got different brands of chocolates. So Mummy said, so what? Listen, I am answering your question. And I was so thrilled. He said, we have got different brands of biscuits. Yes. In the same manner, today Swamiji told, everything is Brahman. Everything is Brahman. See? Yan manasana manute yena ahur manomatam tadeva brahmatvam viddhi nedam yadidam upasate. So everyone is Brahman, he said clearly. He could not tell the shlok, but he said clearly. So, when everybody is Brahman, you are Brahman, I am Brahman, Papa is Brahman, everybody is Brahman. So, like there are different brands of biscuits, exactly the same way, there are different brands of Brahman. Brahman is the same. I was shocked. And he said, our Papa is an angry brand Brahman. Look here, friends. The day you have decided to learn, understand, God's grace is showered on your heart. Learn. And this is the basic thing, what you see in the life of Bhagavan Ramachandra. Right from childhood, he was in a process of learning. And a person who learns, he has no difficulty in discovering dispassion for the world. See, but that dispassion must be guarded and guided by wisdom. See, friends, that wisdom aspect in the life of Bhagavan Ramachandra was introduced by Vasishtha ji in his discourse. See, like a bird, if a bird has to fly, two equally strong wings are necessary. If there is only one wing strong, other weak, the bird won't be able to fly. He will keep on wriggling there and there only. So not only dispassion, but equally the wisdom. So during his interaction with the world and the process of learning, Bhagavan Ramachandra has discovered tremendous dispassion. But his conclusion of the dispassion was that I don't wish to live. Friends, anybody who wants to live or who wants to leave, both of them are suffering from the same illusion. Those who want to live long, they have the notion that they are the body. Those who want to commit suicide and die, they also have the same notion that I am the body. If the body is destroyed, I am liberated. The foundation of ignorance or the delusion is the same, that body identification. See, friends, therefore only dispassion is not enough in life. Many of us have got that funny notion. See, I don't take this, I don't take that. Wisdom is important. Therefore, this wisdom aspect was lacking. Therefore, many times, dispassion is mistaken for depression. A person who is depressed and a person who is dispassionate, both of them have no interest in the world. But the depressed person is the unhealthy condition of the mind, dispassion is the healthy condition of the mind. Such a healthy mind, withdrawn from the world, alone can focus attention on something higher in life. See, those who have studied Vedanta, they know that there are 4 basic qualifications required for the study of scriptures. Viveka, Vairagya, Shamadhi, Shataka Sampatti and Mumukshutva. If we do not have Viveka and only Vairagya, it will not yield any results. I'll tell you one example. How any kind of desire lingering in the mind is enough to destroy us. Dispassion must be total 100%. This happened in Badrinath many years before. There was one great Mahatma, and so many people, because so many pilgrims come there, and so they sit and want to listen to something going on. I also went, so he called me, you come here and sit here. So I went and sat next to him. And satsang was going on. You talk in Gujarati, you talk in Hindi, you talk in Tamil, different types of people. So the talks were given. When it came to me, he said, you talk in English. You look to be English fellow. I said, yes. So I spoke in English. Thereafter, the satsang was over. Everybody was going. I was also going. He said, you wait, you don't go. So I stayed. Then he told me, that day I got the highest wisdom of my life. Staying in Himalayas, Badrinath, in that cold place, so many people visiting, he is respected, revered, everything. What was going on in his mind? When I heard, it was a big shock. He said, when I was small, I should have learned English, but I did not learn. Now I am regretting. I should have studied English. I would have gone all around the world and spread the gospel of Gita. But alas, I do not know English. You are knowing English, you are so lucky. Look here. Any lingering desire to do anything in this world is not perfect dispassion. We have nothing to do, nowhere to go. Where we are placed, do your job perfectly well, not to get happiness, but to express happiness. See, friends, we are all struggling to get happiness. Bhagwan Ramachandra did not struggle to get happiness. He was expressing happiness in spite of all the difficulties. He never became miserable. See, friends. Therefore, the next step in our evolution for changing the vision is how the God looks at the creation. Third thing. For the God, there is nobody near and nobody dear. Everybody is equal. It is something like, for the ocean, all the waves are equal. Whether it's a tsunami or it is a small little ripple, everything is the same. No difference. Because from the ocean's point of view, waves are not different from him. In the same manner, for the wise person, everybody is equal. Nobody is dear, nobody is not dear. See, friends, about this I'll tell you one example. There was a great master in Vrindavan whose impact on my life has been maximum. I learned so many things from him. He was a totally different type of person. Whenever anybody will go to meet him, the tradition there is when Mahatma Maharaj is sitting, they will go do namaskar and give sometime, the cashew nuts or the almonds or ilaichi, lavang, something like that. And then Maharaji will he was not eating anything, he will just play with that. Oh, you got it, it's so nice, they are very good. Where from you got it? They look to be very fresh, must be very expensive. Why did you bring so much expensive things? Just talking something to them. And thereafter, he will give them and he will distribute to others. And when that person comes out, I was sitting outside. First lady came, she said, I'll tell you, what? Maharajji loves me the most. Nobody knows this. I know. I say, you are so lucky. Then, second person will come. The same expression. Maharaj is so close to me. I simply gave him this thing and he is so much appreciated, because he really loves me. And he told me also. Second person goes. Third person, same thing. See, friends, those who love everybody, they love nobody. And those who love nobody, they alone can love everybody. Name dveshosti na priyaha. See, I'll tell you the meaning of love. So simple it is. Love is 100% availability to a person in front of you. That is love. See, there was one page 3 mother. You know page 3 mothers? Society in India, the newspaper, page 3 is the hi-fi ladies paper, The various kinds of fashion, what kind of nail sheet they should have, whether Shurpanakha type or what is all that kind of funny people. So, that kind of mother, she was reading James Hadley Chase, for example. And she had a daughter, maybe about 5, 6 years, 4 years. And the daughter wanted to ask some question to Mummy. Mummy, I want to ask you something. Not beta, now don't you see that I am reading, Mummy is reading. What reading? Useless. James Hadley Chase. Once, twice, thrice. Finally the child has lost her patience and came and put her sweet little hands around her mother, around her face, pulled her face towards her and said, Mummy, look at me, talk to me. See, friends, when you are 100% available to everybody at every moment of your life, that is pure love. See, friends. But our condition is what? Ek dil ke tukde हजार हुए. See, I have been talking to you for last 36 minutes. Out of 36 minutes, how many minutes you heard me? Even this is not heard. This is forgotten. See, friends, the ability to remain available in a given period for a longer period of time is possible only when our mind is not shattered and distributed in the whole world. And this is what happens for the great master. For them there is no dear and no not dear. Everybody is same. See. And ultimate. Now the last point. Now these 3 points I'll tell you with the example of the ocean. Wave against wave is I against you. Samsara. See? Wave against ocean is a devotee against the Lord. No competition, no nothing. Third is ocean against the waves. Name dveshosi na priyaha. God's vision towards His creation. And the fourth one is, from the water standpoint, there is neither the ocean nor the waves. Neither the ocean is the cause nor waves are the effect. From the water's point of view, cause and effect are illusions. What we do, we look at the water and call it the ocean. We look at the water, we call it waves. So what we are doing? We are abusing the waters by 2 names, ocean and waves. Exactly the same way, the absolute reality is abused by 3 names. One name is Jiva, the soul. Second name is Jagat, the world, and third name is God, the creator. Be very attentive. It's a very subtle point. This is the ultimate in our thought process. This example I give, it becomes very homely for you to understand and practice. I, a man, with reference to my father, I am a son. I, the same man, with reference to my wife, I become husband. I, the same man, with reference to my son, I become a father. Have I become 3? I am 1. So calling the man as a son, as a husband, as a father, it is an abuse. See? And who is miserable in life? It is the son is miserable. It is the husband is miserable, it is the father is miserable. And man is never miserable. Get this point across. See, so when my father died, nothing happened to me, the son, or me, the father. Why? Because when the father died, I ceased to be a son. When my wife died, I ceased to be a husband. So the one who doesn't exist, how can he be miserable? And man is never miserable. Think. From the absolute standpoint, Jiva Jagat Ishvara. These are only conditioned expressions of the infinite. This was the ultimate knowledge given to Bhagwan Ramachandra by Vasishtha ji. There are many stories where it is said, this world is nothing but our mind. See, this principle I have heard, read so many times, but it never clicked. One day it clicked, the same principle. And it was like this. Somewhere in Gujarat, one of my friend, he had a factory and he took me to his factory. I never wanted to go. I was extremely tired, exhausted. I wanted to just sleep after eating lunch. He said, no, Swamiji, again after evening lecture, you will immediately go and then I want you to see my factory. I said, it's okay, it's very good. No, you have to come. So we have to listen. Nobody listens to, but we have to listen to everybody. So I went. After going, then I was happy. I was not regretting. That unique factory, all the laborers in the factory were challenged. Somebody is blind, somebody is, can't hear, somebody can't, polio, all kinds of abnormality. Every labor except the person on the front desk. And he was telling, my production is far better than the normal laborers. And he was taking me around. There was a big hall, there were about a dozen or two huge machines. And behind every machine, one labor was working. And it was making a terribly awful noise. So, when I saw, I said, hey, very good, let's go out. He said, no, I want to explain you. I said, what is there to explain? It is killing my head, so terrible noise here. And I pushed him and went out. He said, how do you like? I said, how do you like? Poor laborers, they must be dying there. Swamiji, this is I wanted you to know. All my laborers behind those machines, they are deaf. That day I learned this principle. Be attentive. All colors and forms, they exist in our vision. All the sounds of the world, they exist in our hearing ability. All our sense organs, they exist in our mind. And the mind is nothing but expression of consciousness. So where is the whole world? World is nowhere. See, friends, what is happening is the objects of the world, they are covering our sense organs. The sense organs are covering our mind. The thoughts in the mind, they are covering the consciousness that we are. See, my friends, therefore, anything which is perceived through sense organs and the mind does not have any reality. See, if there is a big picture, huge picture like here, the back side, very big, nice door or gate, whatever, that looks beautiful from a distance and from a proper distance. If you go near a picture which is, let us take, 20 feet by 20 feet. Huge picture. And it is oil painting. If you go 6 inches away from that picture, want to see the picture, will it look good? It will look ugly. And you can't understand what it is. So, okay, I will go away. And you go 10 miles and try to see from there. Will you be able to see? No. You have to have a proper distance. Then you see the beauty of the place. Friends, exactly the same way, Bhagwan Ramachandra lived in this world, keeping a proper distance. Don't go too close, don't run away. See, my friends, this is possible under one condition, when you don't take this world as real. There are 3 stages of knowledge. Something is existence. Something is not non-existence. Like in a children's camp, I was talking to them about this. And children are genius. Elders have no questions. Elders have only complaints. Therefore, I don't entertain questions from the elder. They are only complaints. So, I was explaining them. Very simple way. I said, look here, there are eyes above my nose, is it not? Yes, Swamiji, everybody was happy. This is called as real existence, Sat. Okay. Do you see the horns on my head? No. This is Asat, which doesn't exist. So when I was talking, there was one student, totally indifferent. So just to collect his attention, I asked him. He said, hey, you tell me, what? Do you see the horns on my head? Not for now. Who knows, they may come sometime. So the third thing is that which appears but does not exist. So 3 things: existence, non-existence and appearance. This appearance, when it is taken as real, we suffer in life. There was heavy rains and the man was nicely enjoying his tea or coffee, watching the nice movie, and there was a bang on the door. So he got, oh God, these people don't allow me even to enjoy my tea. He kept the teacup and went and opened the door, and again, I don't know who people come in my house. Came back. Again, very bang, dang, dang. Again he came with a view to scold. The moment he opened, that lady scolded, how you dare close the door on me? Oh, it is you. I didn't recognize you. Because when she came in the heavy rains, all the makeup was washed away and she could not be recognized. So, the makeup is an appearance of beauty. It is not beauty. And this is how people get deceived. And that is what is called as makeup. Makeup means what? That which is done to cover the breakup is makeup. Improving God's creation is makeup. So this illusion, this world appears, but it doesn't exist. Be attentive. We all see the mirage waters. We all see the rainbow. We all see the sunrise and sunset. But does it exist? Because something is experienced, because something is useful, does not mean it is real. See? Husband is experienced, husband is useful, but he is not real. See? One South Indian in Bombay told me, Swamiji, please tell my wife she doesn't understand. She has collected so many stuff in the house. I am just coming from Japan. I went for a special management training, inventory management training. And we were told anything which is not used for last 6 months is not required, should be removed. Then only the inventory can be properly managed. But she doesn't understand, she doesn't listen. So I say, Mama, Swamiji, please tell him the first thing I will throw out of the house will be he. See, friends, we take this world real because it is useful? No. Another thing. Illusion is that which appears under n number of conditions. If those conditions are not fulfilled, illusion cannot exist. See, now take an example. You sit in the car, don't drive, let somebody drive, and sit in the front seat, and when the car is going, don't look here and there, look at the road. What will be your experience? The road is running in the opposite direction, the same speed as the car is running. Whatever you may try not to see that the road is not running, and yet till such time you are sitting in the running car, you cannot but have that experience that the road is running opposite direction. Now to know the truth that the road is not running, what you have to do? Two options. One option is jump out of the running car. And then you'll come to know the road was not running. Second is come to know till such time you are conditioned by the movement of the car. Till then the road will be seen as running in opposite direction. So the movement of the road is an illusion, although appears under n number of conditions. Now apply this principle. Take any illusion. Mirage waters. Mirage waters you can't say at night. You can't say in the evening, hey, I was coming in the evening, it was getting dark and I saw so much mirage waters. To whom are you bluffing? Mirage water appears under only when the sun rays are perpendicularly falling on the hot earth, then only, not otherwise. Therefore, this world, waking world that we see, when this waking world is seen, only when we are identified with the gross body. If we are not identified with the gross body, this waking world does not exist for us. This is my everyday experience. That is why when I sleep in my room, I keep the light on. And people ask me, Swamiji, why do you keep the light on? I said, then I can sleep well. Then I can see the dreams clearly. See, the problem is, I keep on changing from one place to another place. So in the deep sleep, you are nowhere, you are nobody, and when you wake up suddenly, you don't know where you are. So where is this world? This world is, be attentive, this world is in our body identification. So this world is not real. Now this principle, that this world appears but does not exist, was clearly known to Bhagwan Ramachandra. Be attentive. When he went to the forest, 13 years comfortably, he was in Chitrakoot. No problem. Enjoying. Very lovely place to stay. Now last 1 year, he got bored there. So he thought, let me move around. And he got a great hospitality from all the saints and sages. When he was moving, before that, he did a trick and nobody knew it. Even Lakshmana did not know. Bhagwan Ram told Sita ji, hide your original form in the element fire. Fire is the material cause of forms, rupa, tanmatra. So hide your original form in the element fire and bring out a Xerox copy. Nobody knew about it except Bhagwan Ram and Sita ji. And then Ramchandra ji is going ahead, Sita ji following him, behind Lakshman. This is the scenario explained. And then when Sita ji is staying there and she sees that golden deer, and she tells Bhagwan Ram, unless you get that golden deer to me, I will not listen now. She was just acting because she was made for that job. And then when she said so bad words to Lakshmana, which she would never have said had she been original, but it was a drama she was playing. And that Sita which was abducted by Ravana was not the original one, it was a Xerox copy. She was also crying. Drama. Bhagwan Ramachandra ji equally crying, another drama. Because the main purpose was killing that Ravana. And when he was crying, even Sati, the wife of Lord Shiva, she got confused. You call Rama as the Brahman, and how can that Brahman is crying for a wife? How can he be a Brahman? She also got deluded. And after the whole drama was over, Ravana was killed, again another drama. I want to purify Sita. Means what? Let the Xerox copy go back and the original come out. Agni Pariksha. So the Sita who left Ayodhya, the same Sita returned back to Ayodhya. In between that 1 year period, it was the Xerox copy that was playing the role. See, friends. So he was never miserable. He was playing the role as if he is miserable. How he could do that? Because he knew this world is just an appearance, not real. See, friends, this principle we can learn in our day-to-day life. We don't have to go anywhere. Only be clearly attentive to your own conscience. The moment you are disturbed, you just find out who is disturbed. You will come to know at the base of every disturbance, there is somebody sitting. We are disturbed as mother, father, brother, sister, daughter, son. Somebody is there. That fellow is disturbed. And are they real? No. See, friends, therefore these 3 stages of our existence should be clearly recognized. The real I, called Mukhyatma. Second is the illusory I, when I take myself to be the body. And the third is the Gaunatma, the secondary I. After the body identification, then all relations are born. The moment the body disidentification happens, as in deep sleep or dream, we are neither mother, father, brother, sister, husband, wife. And therefore, in deep sleep we are so happy. See, friends, and when you are happy, you make noise. And therefore, the people, although husband doesn't dare talk one word before the wife, but at sleep, how loudly he snores, because I am no more your husband. Krrr, krrr, goes on. See, friends, discover this principle, which is demonstrated in the life of Bhagwan Ram. And when we thus follow his steps, then we will come to know he was never serious. And one most important principle, how Bhagwan's Charitra can really help us. According to Valmiki Ramayana, Bhagwan Ramchandra ruled for 11,000 years. Out of 11,000 years, 14 years in the forest. Out of 14 years, 13 years comfortably in Chitrakoot. remaining 1 year, great hospitality in the great ashramas of the great Mahatmas. 6 months, the drama of Ravana. Now remove this episode that he was sent from the palace to the forest and he returned. 14 years period out of 11,000 years. Like a time required for a sneeze. Remove this portion. Edit Ramayana. Remove this portion. What will be Ramayana? Rama was great, he got married, and thereafter he ruled the world for 11,000 years. Who will read? My friends, every difficulty in our life is necessary for our evolution. See, this is demonstrated in his life. Even Bhagwan Rama has to go through the difficulties. What of you and me, the Jagjivan Ram? See, unless there are difficulties in life, we cannot shine. See, if a beautiful statue, Vigraha, has to come out of a stone, it will not just come out. It has to go through the chisel hammer treatment. That time, the stone thinks, oh God, of all the stones, I am the most unlucky. Oh. But when a beautiful idol comes, everybody comes and bows and salutes, then that stone comes to know, oh, had I not gone through that chisel and hammer treatment, I would never have been in the altar. Like other stones, I would have been somewhere at the base or as a step on a staircase. Friends, whenever there is difficulty, recognize God's grace is. He is taking special care of us. It is something like a child is very dirty, all muddy, and the mother says, come on, come, we'll take bath, you are feeling... No, mommy. So what mother does? Pulls him and gives him bath and applies the soap and ragdo. And the child is crying, gives one anyway, doesn't know why he is crying. And after all that is done, and washed nicely, powdered, and nice clothes, the child even doesn't say thank you to mom, he goes to sleep. That time the child thinks, my mother is a chudel. Exactly the same way. Whenever there is a special treatment given to us, we deserve it. It is our for evolution. The day you take this attitude in life, we have learned how Rama was Jivan Mukta in spite of all the difficulties in life. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.